Oh, maybe I do need to, so you can't see I have on. Frame my face more so my forehead doesn't look massive. If I lean back, you don't see as much of the forehead. Or I can just like do this and crop my own forehead out and you'll just think that I'm like terrible at composition. But then my eyes are like, okay, whoa. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about champagne stemware. Now, champagne, sparkling, spumante, the cavas, you know, all that. The sparkling wines, we have to have a certain type of stemware for them. And you're probably already familiar with that, but there are levels to it. And when it comes to champagne, I'm just going to use champagne colloquially. When it comes to champagne stemware, there are so many different types. And so I'm going to pretty much just give you my personal opinion, la opinion, about such stemware. So before we jump into it, let's just go into what the hell is a sparkling wine, right? Let's just go into the nature of sparkling wines and champagne. They go through two fermentation processes, okay? The first one is very much like the average bottle of wine you can get at your average grocery store or at the wine shop, right? You ferment it and it does its thing and, you know, things happen, right? So you have this wine, it's wine ready to go. With the sparkling wines, they go through a second fermentation process that produces alcohol and, more notably, carbon dioxide. I have to make sure it's dioxide, not, because monoxide, that should have killed you. We don't want that. Because there's carbon dioxide. Now, thinking about champagne in particular, this process, the second fermentation, happens in the actual bottles, okay? Another reason why champagnes can be more expensive, because everything that happens with what you're drinking is happening in that bottle you bought, okay? So, I'm not gonna talk about how the hell they get the cork in there, whatever, but it's under a lot of pressure, a lot. That's why you gotta be careful with it, because it's stressed out. Stressed and ready to go. I believe it's 90 pounds per square inch. I don't know the math and the physics. I haven't taken physics since undergrad, and that was a long damn time ago. But I know I don't want 90 pounds of nothing popping in my face or popping me in my mouth or popping me nowhere, okay? Like, the only thing I want 90 pounds is my body, okay? Content's highly pressurized. It's, you know, carbon dioxide, so it's got that fizziness. And so just like with still wines, the type of glass that you decide to drink it in, it does affect your experience, your what you smell, your nose, and what you taste, your palate. So let's go. I want to show you stemware that I have, and I want to kind of give a disclaimer. You don't have to like any particular stemware. I am really giving you like my opinion, my personal experience, and just what I know from it, and how champagnes or sparkling wines, you know, respond to the structure of these stemwares I'm going to show you, okay? So I don't care if you have one thing and I'm saying I like another. If you like what you got, do you. Because I want you to enjoy your sparkle, your bubbles, the way you need to enjoy them. It don't matter what I enjoy, okay? Because we two different people, okay? Like, that's so that I just want to let you know that. So I never want to come off like, you know, it's like this and it's gospel and I'm a gatekeeper. Like, first up is le flute. I'm pretty sure that's not how you would say it in French. But the flute, and my light is really bright. Let's cut it down a little. Ooh, the other way, girl, the other way. Can you see me still? Okay, because it's a lot of reflection coming from this way. But this is a flute, a basic flute. You may have different variations where maybe you just have different flutes, okay? And I have quite a few flutes, and it's funny because I don't use them that often, okay? Now with the flute, okay, so going back to the nature of a champagne or sparkling wine, you have all the bubbles. This is an elongated design. I really hope you can't see it. I don't have a lot of contrast going on here, but it's an elongated design, okay? So you pour in and actually, that's what I was gonna do. Actually pour in a sparkling wine. I have a sparkling rosé here, and I'm going to pour it in. So you have this elongated design, very simple. And I personally, even though I don't use a lot of my flutes, my personal flutes, I think this is just like sexy when your nails are done. And it doesn't have to be bad beach nails. I mean, like whatever you do, however your manicure is, if you do it yourself, if it's short nails, like something really cute and classy, a French manicure, bad bitch nails, me with my basic bitch almond shape, whatever it is, right? Like it just looks so nice as like a lady, and you have your, like, you know, and you're just, it's just very dainty. So I like flutes for that purpose, for the aesthetic. But what happens is, oh shit. What happens is you pour it. All right, so boom. You pour it and oh wow. Now that was interesting because I actually tasted this wine for another video and I used a different glass and something else was happening different. So this kind of proves my point. But I wasn't expecting to do that, like dang. Because it's elongated and it's a narrow passage for the aromas, for the bubbles, because remember it's carbonated, right? So for all the bubbles and everything just kind of it just shoots up. And actually, yeah, so in my personal experience, you pour it and it's nice and you have the, you know, whatever your mousse is and it's like, oh, it's beautiful. And let's say you're at a dinner party or whatever, right? And you're just like, oh, you're kicked back and you're talking and like the bubbles and everything are going to go away shortly. Even with me just sitting here talking to you, right? So you take your sip and don't worry, we just gonna get drunk, don't worry. But what happens is because everything can just shoot up and out, and evaporate, I guess, whatever, you lose the bubbles, you lose the bubbles, you lose some of the aromas faster than other stemware, okay? And you'll notice this if you do drink wine in general, and you have the aromas, you know, of something aromatic like a Sauvignon Blanc, or if you're, you have, you know, that Cab Merlot blend, right? And you have your aromas, and if you're drinking out of an appropriate glass, with this, you lose that. You don't have that where every time you go to sip it, you have that experience, that the experience dissipates a lot faster instead of kind of like slowly over time, right? So it is what it is, but the style is great because again, like it's elegant, right? But the balance, right? Everything, the weight goes up and you're not worried about tipping, which we will get into. Next up is the tulip. I like tulips. I prefer a tulip over a flute if I were to have a dinner party or whatever. If it's me hosting something and I have a choice in the stemware, I would go more with a tulip because again, you get that elegance. It's still, you got some balance still in terms of you holding it by the stem. If you don't know, you definitely always want to hold your wine, I don't care if it's sparkling or still, you want to hold it by the stem because just on a practical note, not even being, you know, bougie or uppity or anything like that, if you're holding it, I don't even want to do it. If you're holding it by the bowl, any glass, any piece of stemware, your hands are going to heat up the contents. We don't want that, okay? We're not having hot toddies. We are trying to chillax it, okay? And secondly, because even if your hands are clean, we have oils in our hands and it's just, I don't like that. I don't like a gross glass. And imagine, in my opinion, or if it was me hosting something and we have mimosas, that's probably the only time I'm really using a flute or a tulip, right? So now you have your fingerprints and you got your lip print and then you got the residue from the damn orange juice. Like, it's nasty, don't do it. So at least you could do is like minimize some of the grime and grossness that you have from like sitting and drinking and chopping it up with your friends. You want to minimize some of that. So, and also drink from the same spot. Even if you don't have lipstick on and you just have on, I don't care if it's chapstick, the black one, like, I don't care. Like, you want to kind of put your lip in the same spot because it just gets gross. And trust me, it looks nasty. It ain't cute, and we don't do that around here, okay? Okay. Because we have a little bit of a wider bowl somewhat, like I don't know if you can see, because it opens up, right? So what you would do is when you pour this, and let's pour slowly and pay attention what the hell we doing. All right, we get there. All right, that's about, give or take, where you would want to pour it. And so you're having, and this is, I really wish you could see the bubbles, because with the flute, I immediately lost bubbles. It was like there was no motor going. It was just like boop, boop, boop. Whereas this has some bubbles going. So it's able to like kind of spread its legs. Because the bowl is a U shape, I guess you could say. It's kind of, everything's, you know, it's opening up, but it's not rushing out. It's not a fire sale. Whereas with the flute, it's a fire sale. Get the hell out. Wait, no, fire sale is, it's a fire and buy everything. I'm not really sure where that comes from. You're not getting the hell out with this. This one, you kind of, you know, you're jogging a little bit instead of running out. So yeah, you can't, I really wish I need a new camera, y'all, so I can show you all the things that I see with my eyes. But I still have bubbles. They're dissipating, but with the flute right away, it was like dead. And I'm like, is this like, whoa. Oh, I'm glad that happened on camera, even though you can't see it. So this is a really nice rosé, by the way, but that's what I like about this, because you still get that elegance, the sexiness, the nicely balanced, well-balanced design. Because again, if you're in a social setting, this is nice. You don't have to worry about it, particularly holding the stem. If you've not been holding the stem and now you're like, oh shit, I need to like hold the stem on my wine glasses, you're not like struggle busting. You're not like, oh my God, I hope I don't like spill it, and oh my God, I won't look elegant. Also, by the way, if you do have that issue, you can kind of like, oh, ha ha ha, and kind of hold the base a little bit. Who cares about the base, as long as the base doesn't come off? That's why I like it. So you can still do that, but you're just not losing the aromas. And in the bubbles, I love the motor going. See, it's starting to dissipate. So that's that. Next up is the coupe. Can you see it? You can see it. You've seen these before, right? This one is like the biggest heartbreak, because I feel like coupes are très foncé and I can't use them. That's it. That's all. That's the tweet. They are terrible for balance. Now, not so much balance. I'll show you in a second when I pour it. But they're terrible for balance, and maybe I should pour it so you can see what I'm gonna say. All right. I don't feel like in these videos I hand gesture as much as I would in real life, because I'm being mindful of that. I'm gonna make sure we don't like not put that. Okay, so I didn't really pour, like, this is, okay, right? We're good, right? This makes me very nervous. I was gonna say it's not well balanced. It's not like it feels top heavy or anything like that in my hands. But what happens is if I move in the slightest, this is going to be on the flow. Not the floor, the flow, okay? We do not want that. We don't want that, because we don't waste alcohol around here. 2, it makes you look like you're damn drunk. Like she already drunk. She had 2 sips, okay? But I hand gesture a lot, and that ain't gonna work. So if I'm sitting around talking or socializing, I'm gonna, and it's not gonna work. And right now I'm mindful of it, because I think I had like 2 or 3 sips before filming. But if I'm actually see, now I'm so scared, because I don't want to waste this. I don't want to have to clean up. But what makes the design crappy to me is that you're gonna feel compelled to be like, screw it, I'm just gonna hold it like this. And you might have seen this in photos, in the history books, because this is the stemware that they used way back in the day. Like, where did you even get glass from? It's like witchcraft, right? This is the type of, this is what they would drink champagne out of and wines out of, which was very different to what we are drinking today, by the way, but that's another video. But it is going to make you feel compelled to hold it here to have control. And I just told you, you're holding the bowl, it's gonna be all nasty and fingerprinty, you're heating it up. It's just gross, and you still got the sloshing action. You still, like, I'm not moving, and this stuff is rocking like the Titanic, honey. Like, I don't like that. And I don't want this to heat up either, so I'm gonna like stop holding it. And I'm gonna actually just put it down. See, I can't even slide you over. Go over there with your sisters. Next is what I personally use on a daily basis, and that is a wider bowl or Chardonnay glass. And this is my baby. And if you can't see my lipstick, it's because I did have some champagne prior to filming. And I just drank the last of it before this scene. So you have glass companies that have designed stemware specifically for champagne. And this particular one is by Lehman. You have Lehman, you have Riedel, you have Zalto, who else? It's a bunch of people that, like tons of brands that make, I'm really trying to think of ones that are like, you can get them at Macy's even. Nothing special, just, you know, nice stemware, right? We want to take a step up from Target. If Target's your budget, do it until you can get better, because it is a difference, okay? But there are a lot of stemware companies that design stemware specifically for champagne, and you'll have different variations of this design. You have variations of the tulip design I showed you, and so their design, it's not like, oh, you just have a flute. Nothing wrong with a flute, nothing wrong with it, but this is not, if you were to go on the Lehman website, this is a champagne glass. So just so you know, but you may have a great Chardonnay glass that you have at home, and I would actually ask you to try it. Whatever you, because maybe, you know, you've been buying flutes. Don't worry about trying to go out and buy any stemware to see if you can tell the difference, or if you like one way or versus the other. Go ahead and get one of your Chardonnay glasses or white wine glasses and pour your sparkles in it, and just, you know, report back. That's your homework. I'm sorry, I just don't know what my neighbors are doing. I don't know why they're driving their cars. Like, why? Now, the balance is not so great. I'm gonna actually pour some. The balance is not so great with this stemware in this particular glass, because I have baby hands, okay? I mean, they look pretty proportioned to me, but I'm like a petite person. Like, everything's small that don't need to be small, okay? But I don't know why I just didn't pour more than that. But say if I were to pour here, which is like crazy, that's a crazy amount. I never pour quite that much. I maybe pour a little bit more. And maybe because it's like the balance, but then it gets heavy on you. And I've never like tipped it or anything like that, knock on wood. I forgot to show you my other stemware, that this is by Riedel, that is designed for sparkling wine consumption. And you see how they don't look, you know, they're not the same, you know, maybe cousins, maybe like step cousins, okay? But wider bowl, but tapers at the top, so the same concept, okay? Again, these are the two I drink out of the most. If I'm not drinking out of her, I am drinking out of her, and that's 100%, okay? And so, yeah, that's what I'm grabbing. What makes me determine one over the other? It really kind of depends on what I'm drinking specifically. If I am having something that I know the bubbles are a little bit strong, I do put them in here. Sometimes I just want this glass. I can't tell you what makes me decide. Maybe I'll talk about it more on my Instagram at asia.alexander. But the final piece of stemware that you can use for sparkling wines is stemless flutes. And you've seen them, and they're really cute. Sometimes they even have some etching on them, really fun. Those are great if you like them, but I already explained to you, if it doesn't have a stem, you're holding it by the actual bowl. There's no bowl, it's just like a flute, right? So you don't want to do that because it's going to get gross. Usually when you see those, you see them at events, a mimosa, some type of cocktail. So now you just got whatever else is in there making the glass look gross as you drink it, as well as your gross fingers. So we don't want that. But I think they're fun. I think you should have some on hand. They're usually very inexpensive, so buy a set or two depending on how you entertain. You can have them. I'm not against them 100%. I think they're purely for entertainment, but I don't use them because I don't want my nasty fingerprints all over them, and I don't want hot ass champagne. All right, so that is it. That is all. Thank you for watching. My name is Asia, like the continent, and you can like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead. I know you haven't hit the button or a bell. Hit all of those things. And again, you can catch me on Instagram at asia.alexander, and we can talk more about stemware preferences where I've purchased my own. If you have questions about getting more bang for your buck because you don't want to spend a whole lot of money and it's not really something that you want, so we can do all that. But I want to thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time, and there always will be wine. Bye.